So I brought today a watch that was given to my father by the president of the University of Alaska system in 1972.
In 1969, Rolex took a major leap forward by introducing the Cosmograph Daytona with an automatic movement, a truly game-changing development that significantly expanded the watch's appeal and everyday usability. At its core was the Rolex Caliber 4030, a heavily reworked version of the Zenith El Primero, which was, at the time, the world's first high-beat automatic chronograph. Rather than simply adopting the movement as is, Rolex refined it extensively, lowering the beat rate, improving reliability, and reinforcing long-term durability to meet the brand's famously exacting standards. The watch is housed in a 40mm stainless steel oyster case, retaining the rugged, water-resistant construction that had come to define Rolex tool watches of the era. It features screw-down pushers, a tachymeter bezel for calculating average speed, and high-contrast subdials designed for quick, at-a-glance legibility. Details clearly aimed at the demands of professional motorsport. One especially important detail is the prominent Cosmograph text on the dial, a direct nod to endurance racing and Rolex's growing association with the 24 Hours of Daytona, a partnership that helped solidify the watch's racing identity. By the end of the decade, the 1969 Rolex Oyster Cosmograph Daytona had earned its place on the wrists of racers, timing officials, and serious enthusiasts alike, firmly establishing its reputation as a precision instrument built for performance, not just prestige.
This one here is called the reverse panda dial. What you did is keep it all 100% original, and by doing that, you increase the value.
Oh.
If they had changed the dial on that watch, that would have made a huge difference. In today's market, this watch, retail, right now will bring $85,000 to $95,000.
Okay.
Well, today I brought some musical pocket watch fobs. Normally, gentlemen that wore pocket watches would wear fobs or seals on the other end of their chains. But these, all 5 of these actually have a musical movement underneath it, and each one of them plays a separate tune. You just turn the top, and there's a small switch in the front, and the watch owner could listen to the tune. I started collecting regular watch fobs, and when I was on travel for work, a young lady in the UK showed me this one, and as soon as I saw it, I was hooked. So this has taken me about 10 or 12 years to collect.
Around the early 19th century, musical watch fobs emerged as ingenious luxury accessories that combined timekeeping, sound, and personal ornament, reflecting Europe's fascination with miniature mechanics. During the late Enlightenment and early Romantic periods, advances in miniaturized pinned cylinders and finely tuned steel combs allowed watchmakers to integrate music into remarkably small objects, pushing the limits of precision engineering. The addition of music transformed a practical watch fob into a conversation piece, signaling refinement, education, and social standing. These key-wound musical mechanisms powered short melodies activated by a small lever, and their compact construction required extraordinary skill as the musical components had to coexist seamlessly with the timekeeping movement. Typical of early 19th century musical watch fobs, these examples are crafted in gold and often adorned with gemstones, emphasizing their status as luxury objects. Compact musical movements, luxurious materials, and ornamental design reflect a culture captivated by precision, spectacle, and personal adornment in an age before industrial mass production. Popular among the European aristocracy and the emerging bourgeoisie, musical watch fobs were worn not only as functional accessories, but also as expressions of taste and modernity, frequently displayed openly rather than kept concealed.
And the most difficult to make, because it is the tricolor gold. And the way they made that was they made the basic component of the fob, and then they applied all the different colors to that, and then they put the music box inside there, and then attached the activator, which is what sets it off. So the estimates that I would give for this at auction are $3,000 to $5,000. for this one since it's gold filled. For the other three pieces, these two are similar. I would say they're going to be at $6,000 to $8,000. And for the tricolor gold one, the auction estimate would be $7,000 to $9,000. So as a group, the estimate would be $28,000 to $38,000. However, when you sell such a desirable, rare item like this in a group, the price tends to go way higher. Okay. And I would think that the auction estimate for this would be $45,000 to $55,000 for the entire collection.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
What I brought here was my father's Panerai Italian military wristwatch that he got during World War II from an Italian prisoner because he acted as a military interpreter in an Italian prison that was here in the United States. My dad either bought the watch off of a prisoner or traded something or another. I'm not exactly sure.
The Panerai radiomere was developed during World War II as a specialized instrument for the Italian Royal Navy's elite combat divers, reflecting both the demands of military operations and the cutting-edge watchmaking techniques of the period. By that time, Panerai had already established itself as the official supplier of precision instruments for the Decima Hamas Naval Unit, Italy's Frogman commandos. The radiomere combined Swiss watch movements with Italian engineering innovations, producing a tool watch capable of withstanding extreme underwater conditions. Its cushion-shaped stainless steel case, larger than typical civilian watches of the era, ensures durability and enhanced underwater legibility. The watch's distinctive oversized dial and luminescence were specifically designed to meet the operational needs of nighttime underwater reconnaissance. Wire lugs are soldered directly to the case, allowing the use of wide straps for secure underwater wear. Today, mid-20th century Panerai radiomere watches remain highly collectible for their historical military provenance, functional design, and pioneering use of luminescent technology.
So I'm going to take this off.
Okay.
And we're going to see the face, which is black, between the ingenious of Panerai, the quality of Rolex, the machining of the case. They created an absolute perfect watch.
Gee whiz.
Maybe about 1,000 to 2,000 were made specifically for the Italian military.
Panerai is in business today, correct?
Panerai is in business today. This one is 1940 to 1945. This is the first one to ever come to Roadshow. The issues are the crystal that turned a bit yellow and your dial. It's a celluloid dial. As we can see, it's starting to buckle a little bit, but it certainly is repairable. So now, in terms of a value, any idea?
7,000.
In today's market, retail, this watch will bring $50,000 to $60,000.
Holy moly. That's a lot more than 7.
This is my husband's grandfather's watch. It was a watch that we actually found while cleaning out a home after his aunt passed away about 2 years ago. My husband's grandfather served in World War I. After the war, he stayed in Europe and toured a little while, and we think that's when he purchased it, possibly in France.
By 1915, wristwatches were transitioning from primarily women's accessories to practical timepieces for men. Previously, men relied mostly on pocket watches, but the demands of World War I highlighted the practicality of wristwatches for military use. Soldiers needed quick, hands-free access to time, accelerating the adoption of wristwatches among men. Patek Philippe, already renowned for its precision, elegance, and innovation, recognized this shift and produced wristwatches that combined luxury with utility, as seen in the showcased example. While wartime needs influenced design, Patek Philippe maintained its commitment to elegance, evident in this watch's 18-karat gold case and distinctive luminescent dial. Its finely crafted, manually wound mechanical movement is precise and reliable, reflecting the brand's dedication to excellence. Early Patek Philippe wristwatches from the early 20th century are highly prized today for their rarity and historical Significance, representing the brand's early mastery in translating pocket watch expertise into wristwatches.
Most of the time when these dials deteriorate or they get refinished, the enamel comes out. This watch has all the right characteristics, even the crystal's original. When this watch was manufactured, this dial probably glowed. You could see it in nighttime when you walk down a street. That's the lume part of it. A watch in this condition, which is really rare, probably in today's market would be about a $40,000 to $50,000 watch retail.
Okay.
And very collectible
Wow.
and very desirable.
Okay. Awesome.
It was left to me by my grandmother. She left with a bunch of other jewelry, and I found it in there.
Now, we'd probably start off by opening up this little door here to reveal it's actually a watch rather than a bracelet. Now, what can you tell me about it?
Nothing. I found out it was a watch probably a year after I first laid eyes on it, and I don't know anything about it.
So, have you worn it much since you had it?
I've worn it a couple of times, special occasions, but that's about it.
In the mid-20th century, Cartier had firmly established itself as a leader in luxury jewelry watches, merging refined aesthetics with precision Swiss horology. During this period, Cartier emphasized bracelet-style watches that were as much pieces of jewelry as they were timekeeping instruments. Post-World War II, luxury watches catered to an emerging market of affluent, style-conscious buyers, particularly women seeking elegance combined with technical sophistication. Cartier collaborated with Yoga Lecoultre to integrate high-quality Swiss movements into jewelry-focused designs, as seen in this watch, blending precision engineering with aesthetic innovation. The Jaeger LeCoultre mechanical movement is renowned for its reliability and accuracy, ensuring that artistic design never compromised timekeeping performance. Its gold bracelet case functions as both a watch and a statement jewelry piece, reflecting Cartier's mastery of wearable luxury. The watch's minimalist dial emphasizes elegance over numerals, showcasing Cartier's philosophy that a watch should enhance the wearer's style as jewelry first and function as a timepiece second. Watches like this represent a fusion of haute joaillerie and technical excellence, appealing to collectors who value both design and movement pedigree.
This type of exceptional design and condition, I think, are realistic valued nowadays. You're probably actually closer if you put both of your estimates together.
Yeah.
I think if it was to sell at auction, $15,000.
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised at that type of number. It's stunning.
Oh,
it's probably
beautiful.
one of the nicest of its type I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you so much.
This is my grandfather's watch from World War II. My grandfather was a flight instructor for the Tuskegee Airmen during the war. The watch was given to me by my grandmother, his second wife. This was back in 2012. She was getting rid of some of his things, and I went to college for aviation and flew airplanes in college, and so I was very interested in the history of all this, and I'm very proud of what he did during the war.
What can you tell me about the Tuskegee program?
Back during the war, African Americans were not allowed to serve in a combat basis in a pilot setting. The program was designed and created specifically for an all African American group. They went down to Tuskegee and they trained, and my grandfather happened to be one that helped teach them. From a civil rights aspect, that was a huge stepping stone in moving our country beyond where it was.
It led to the integration in 1948 of the military.
Yeah.
At a time when World War II was intensifying, pilots required wristwatches capable of meeting the unique demands of aerial navigation and combat. Swiss watchmaker Gallet & Co., already renowned for its precision chronographs, rose to the challenge with the Red Tail chronograph. The nickname Red Tail is often associated with special dials featuring red accents, a reference frequently linked to the Tuskegee Airmen, famously known as the Red Tails, though it is more accurately a collector-applied designation for variants distinguished by their red markings. The slide rule rotating bezel enabled pilots to perform essential in-flight calculations, including distance, speed, and fuel consumption, critical tools for navigation before the widespread adoption of onboard avionics. Its chronograph function allowed for precise timing of flight segments, an essential requirement in both military and civilian aviation. A high-contrast dial with luminous markers ensured clear readability in low-light conditions, a vital necessity in the cockpit. Today, the Gallet and Cour's red-tail chronograph remains an iconic example of mid-20th century pilot watches, valued for its mechanical ingenuity, historical importance, and distinctive visual design.
The bracelet, I think, has maybe been added on later. I bet it originally had a khaki-colored canvas strap, would be non-reflective in the cockpit. Do you know what year your grandfather got this?
I don't. When I reached out to Gallet themselves, they said it would have been a first generation, so I would assume it would have been 41, 42 time frame, but I don't know, honestly, for sure.
It's definitely an early example. I know you've tried to research this. There's one thing that I suggest you do that you haven't done, and that's to contact the U.S. government. The procurement offices at that time, they should be records still to this day.
Oh, wow.
And maybe the serial number of that watch, you can find the actual order, when they ordered it.
Okay.
All these things are going to help the watch. Let's talk about values on the watch. The watch by itself would bring probably around $5,000 to $7,000 in auction. With all the documentation and the Tuskegee Airmen affiliation, the sky's the limit. But I would say that an auction estimate that I would put on it preliminary would be $50,000 to $100,000.
Wow.
It could bring double that. We don't know what it would bring. There's no record of another one that's been for sale.
Oscar,
Hey,
tell me what you brought today.
I brought a Rolex. My dad left it when he passed away. When we were growing up, my twin and I, we would always kind of fight for it because we always thought it was like a nice piece of watch. He decided at the end that he would give it to whomever would go the farthest in education. So we were kind of competing growing up. We studied the same things, graphics and arts and all that. At the end, I got a master's degree, and it ended up on my end. But we share it. I share it with my brother. It's just something sentimental.
Why do you think your father bought this particular watch model?
I have no clue. I think he used to dress really nicely and he liked really cool things. I think he bought it back in the 80s. We're originally from Mexico, and I think he saw it as a precious gift. I have no clue why he chose that specific model.
By 1978, the Daytona was still something of an insider's watch. Quartz watches had taken over the market, and mechanical chronographs were widely seen as old-fashioned. Ironically, that lack of popularity meant far fewer Daytonas were made and sold, one of the main reasons these watches are so rare and desirable today. By this point, Rolex had already moved on from manually wound Daytonas and fully embraced automatic chronographs, a shift that began back in 1969. This 1978 Daytona is powered by the Rolex Caliber 4030, an automatic chronograph based on the Zenith El Primero. But Rolex didn't simply drop the movement in. They completely reworked it, lowering the beat rate, upgrading key components, and improving overall reliability to meet their famously strict standards. It's also an important milestone, as this was the first time Rolex used a third-party base movement for the Daytona. One of the most eye-catching details is the classic Panda dial, named for the bold contrast between the black and white elements that instantly draw the eye. Adding to its appeal, the word Daytona appears in red on the dial, a subtle but intentional design choice that gives the watch extra visual punch and is especially loved by collectors today. Looking back now, the 1978 Daytona is admired for its clean design, transitional importance, and scarcity. It captures a moment when the Daytona was still a true professional tool, long before it became one of the world's most recognizable status symbols.
And you have a screw-down waterproof crown.
Yes.
This model has screw-down waterproof buttons. The earlier models of this watch, the buttons could accidentally be depressed, and you might start off a timer or stop a timer inadvertently. So to fix that problem, they decided, let's make them screw down, and now you can't accidentally move them.
Right.
Let's talk about some values.
Sure.
Sound interesting to you?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so this dial is perfect. It is the most beautiful dial, no fading, no chipping, no moisture ever got in there It's incredible. Your crystal that covers the watch, that's plastic acrylic. It's got a little bit of scratching. But what I like about this is that you've left it just as your dad gave to you. And in this day and age, that's a very important feature on a watch. So, in today's market, we hear all about these selling privately, selling at auction, selling for all kinds of crazy numbers. And this one here, this is going to be a little bit of a crazy number too.
Oh my gosh.
So in today's retail market, this watch is going to sell $95,000 to $105,000.
Oh my God. That's crazy. Really, it's crazy because I've worn it on the subway sometimes. And knowing that I've got like $100,000 in my wrist. Wow, that's insane. Thank you, Dad.
In the spring of 1995, I read an article about the Rolex Daytona. I'd always been a car enthusiast, and I could appreciate that it had a great history around car racing, and I just love the look of the watch. And so I went to a Rolex dealer, and they basically laughed at me and said, we get 1 or 2 of these a year, so pretty much forget about it. So I started looking in the classified ads. And sure enough, a gentleman about 100 miles away from me was advertising 2 of these watches, a white face and a black face. I called him immediately and said I'd like to purchase the white face. And he said, well, I think I'm going to keep that for myself, but I'm willing to sell you the black face. I spoke to my wife about it, and she was pregnant with our second baby, and she basically said, are you sure you want to invest this kind of money in a watch at this point in time in our lives? And I said, well, I think it might go up in value. And she was nice enough to say, sure, go ahead. And we met at a local shopping mall. I paid him in cash, and I got the watch.
In 1994, Rolex was still producing the automatic Daytona, powered by the Caliber 4030, a heavily modified version of the legendary Zenith El Primero movement. At the time, the Daytona was definitely gaining traction, but it hadn't yet reached the almost mythical status it enjoys today. These watches were still being worn daily, not tucked away in safes as investment pieces. The term Patrizzi dial comes from Osvaldo Patrizzi, the founder of Antiquorum, who was the first to notice, study, and publicly document this unusual dial transformation. Certain black Daytona dials from the mid-1900s, like this example, were made with silvered subdials that later proved to be chemically unstable. Over time, those silver subdials naturally oxidized, slowly shifting into a rich, warm brown tone. And because this process happened organically and unpredictably, no 2 Patrizzi dials age in exactly the same way. Each one is truly unique. What makes this especially fascinating is that the effect was never intentional on Rolex's part. It's a genuine accident of history, which only adds to its rarity and appeal. While Patrizzi dials can be found across several mid-1990s production years, examples from 1993 to 1995, especially those from 1994, are considered the most desirable by collectors today.
So Rolex finished the movement. It's got all of Rolex's features in it. It's signed Rolex on the movement, but it was actually made by a different company for Rolex. I see you paid $5,700 for it, which your wife was worried about you making a poor investment with another baby coming into the family. What do you think this watch is worth today?
I'm thinking in the $20,000 range, maybe.
Well, this model today, the Zenith chronographs right now, are really trading around $20,000 to $25,000 right now at auction. Add the paperwork to it. Now you've got it up to $30,000.
Wow.
Now, add the fact that you wore it outside and hung it up on the fence.
Right.
And let the UV rays do their number on that dial. Almost doubles the value. This is $50,000 to $60,000 at auction right now.
Wow. I would not have thought that at all. Wow. That's surprising to me.
So,
wow.
You know, it's not every day you get 10 times on your investment, okay?
Found it in a cardboard box that contained the remaining items from my great-grandfather's estate. I am a watch enthusiast, so I was immediately drawn to it. I don't really know how my grandfather got it. I reached out to the Longines registry, with the serial number, and they said that it was manufactured in 1938 and sent to its dealer in Cuba. My great-grandfather worked in the paper manufacturing industry, and his territory that he serviced was the southeast of the U.S.
In the late 1930s, Longines stood at the very top of the chronograph world, producing precision timepieces trusted by aviators, explorers, military forces, and professional sportsmen alike. At the same time, Cuervo y Sobrinos, based in Havana, Cuba, had earned a reputation as one of the most prestigious luxury retailers in the Western Hemisphere, often mentioned in the same breath as Cartier or Tiffany and Co. Cuervo y Sobrinos became famous for importing elite Swiss watches and selling them with dual-signed dials, blending Swiss technical excellence with a distinctly cosmopolitan Caribbean flair. Their partnership with Longines was one of the most important and most enduring of these collaborations. This particular watch is housed in a stainless steel case that was considered quite large for its time, a clear response to the growing demand for better legibility and real-world sporting use. Inside, it's powered by a high-grade, manually wound Longines chronograph movement, such as the legendary 13ZN or 13123Z. Both celebrated for their column wheel construction, silky smooth operation, and outstanding reliability. Today, dual-signed Cuervo y Sobrinos dials are especially prized by collectors. Many were lost to replacement during routine servicing over the decades, making surviving examples like this one increasingly rare and highly sought after.
I want to say it's never been polished, which is really a great thing. Collectors like watches, as you've learned watching Roadshow, things that are untouched. Your case is untouched. The only thing was the spring bars being cut, which honestly does not change the value at all on the piece. You have any idea what you think the value is?
I would say maybe $10,000. That would be my kind of realistic ballpark guess.
It's not a bad estimate to thinking about what a chronograph would be worth. If this face had been repainted, I don't even think it's a $5,000 watch. But it has this original dial, and it's absolutely incredible. And believe it or not, there's a lot of collectors that love the fact that it actually is co-branded, that Cuervo y Sobrinos name on the dial. It's just a mystique, Cuba, and you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to put an auction estimate. It'll bring between $30,000 to $50,000 at auction.
Wow, that is incredible.
Introduced in
Well, I've had it for 3 weeks. It was actually $3, and I had a 50% coupon that took the price down to $1.49.
$1.49.
That's right.
This Omega chronograph from around 1937 represents a pivotal moment in both the brand's technical evolution and the broader development of the wrist-worn chronograph, combining precision engineering with the growing demand for professional timing instruments in the pre-war era. At the time, Omega was supplying chronographs to sporting organizations, aviation bodies, and scientific institutions, as accurate and portable timekeeping was becoming increasingly essential. In 1932, Omega famously served as the official timekeeper of the Los Angeles Olympic Games, a milestone that firmly established the brand's reputation for chronograph accuracy. By 1937, this expertise had transitioned from large-scale timing equipment and pocket watches into robust wrist-worn chronographs designed specifically for professional use. This watch is powered by the legendary 33.3 THRO movement and housed in a stainless steel case featuring blued steel, hands, and a 2-button chronograph layout. One of its most distinctive details is the oval pusher, a signature element of 1930s chronograph design. The Omega chronographs of the 1930s bridge the gap between scientific instruments and wearable professional tools, helping define the chronograph as we know it today.
An Omega chronograph wristwatch in a stay-bright steel case. The dial's a little worn. At auction, it's going to sell for around $2,500 to $3,000.
Are you kidding me?
The photograph was taken around 1890 to 1900. and it's of the jewelry store in Nordmaling, Sweden.
And they moved from Sweden to America?
Yes, they came in 2 waves.
Did they remain in the jewelry industry or watch
Oh,
industry?
absolutely. All my uncles were watchmakers, and they worked in repair shops in Chicago, Illinois.
Well, why don't you go through and explain what you know about the watches then?
The first one over here on the gold chain necklace, that belonged to my grandmother, and it looks upside down. But for the woman who wears it, then she can lift it up and it's in a correct position so she can tell the time. This pocket watch belonged to my Uncle Guston, and it's a very thin piece, but it fit very easily into a pocket and didn't create too many lumps. The other watch here belonged to my Aunt Ebba, and it's made of some kind of a platinum material, and it's very much a dress type watch. It's not an everyday type of watch.
And have you done any research in terms of their value or the makers, etc.?
Well, I was offered about $1,000 for that wristwatch at one time. These others, I have no idea what they're worth.
By the late 19th century, the world was moving faster than ever. Industrialization, organized sports, railways, and scientific research all demanded timekeeping that was precise, consistent, and repeatable. Switzerland, already famous for fine watchmaking, rose to the challenge and became the leading producer of high-grade stopwatches used by engineers, doctors, astronomers, military officers, and sporting officials. These Swiss stopwatches typically featured column-wheel chronograph mechanisms, carefully adjusted for accuracy and fitted with higher jewel counts than ordinary watches. Clear evidence that they were built as professional instruments, not accessories. Durability and consistency were key because these watches were meant to be used constantly, not worn casually. Alongside these technical tools, we also see a very different expression of watchmaking in this Patek Philippe women's wristwatch from the 1920s, a period defined by dramatic cultural change. After World War I, women's roles expanded and fashion embraced freedom, elegance, and modernity. Jewelry moved away from heavy Victorian styles and toward the lighter, geometric sophistication of the Art Deco era. Patek Philippe, already legendary for its pocket watches and complications, responded by creating high jewelry wristwatches like this one, timepieces that paired mechanical excellence with refined, feminine design for an increasingly sophisticated clientele. The case is crafted in platinum, an exceptionally rare and difficult metal to work with in the 1920s, signaling both exclusivity and extraordinary craftsmanship. Only a handful of houses, including Patek Philippe, could master platinum at this level. It is hand-set with old European cut diamonds, arranged to enhance sparkle while preserving the watch's graceful balance. Today, pieces like these are admired, not just as beautiful jewelry, but as precision instruments, elegant, functional, and remarkable, examples of mechanical artistry at the dawn of the modern age.
Now, the case itself is not signed Patek Philippe, but this was not that uncommon of the era. They would supply movements to very high quality retail outlets such as Spalding & Co. And this is a realistic auction value. It's worth $5,000.
Oh, how nice.
So I'm very pleased you didn't take the $1,000 offer.
Me too. Right.
This was in the family, and they were among the affluential New England families. On my great-grandmother's side, they're from the steel manufacturing and mining, and on my great-grandfather's side, a great-great-uncle developed a steam engine.
Around 1910, pendant watches were still very much in fashion, especially among women, even as wristwatches were just beginning to make their first appearance. This moment sits right at the tail end of the Belle Époque, and just before World War I, a time defined by elegance, craftsmanship, and artistic experimentation. Watches like this weren't simply about telling time. They were designed as ornamental jewelry, worn on long chains or ribbons and carefully coordinated with clothing. Switzerland and France led the way in producing these luxurious, highly decorative timepieces. One of the standout features here is the hand-applied enamel. Whether guilloché or painted, enamel added color, depth, and intricate decoration. What makes it so impressive is the level of skill involved. Each firing in the kiln carried the risk of cracking or discoloration, so every successful piece was an achievement. The watch is housed in a rock crystal case, which allows the dial to remain fully visible while protecting it. At the time, rock crystal symbolized purity and refinement and was favored over ordinary glass for its exceptional clarity and resistance to scratching. Inside, you'll find a small, manually wound Swiss mechanical movement. Though modest in size, it's carefully finished and dependable, reflecting the high standards of early 20th century watchmaking. Today, pendant watches like this are appreciated less as everyday timekeepers and more as wearable works of art, capturing the grace, optimism, and refined beauty of the world just before it changed forever.
What it is, in fact, is carved rock crystal. Most likely this would have been carved in Idar Oberstein, Germany. Then we move in and there's a little bezel of rose diamonds. And then we come to the enamel. This is French enamel. And what's really neat is when we flip it over, is it's a lady's pendant watch.
Yes.
These two pearls, this one here and this one over here, are natural pearls. This one is also the stem to set and to wind the watch.
I wondered about that, but I haven't had the courage to mess with it.
You didn't try it yet?
I haven't tried it.
They repeat the classical enamel theme and the rose diamonds, but you can see just so tastefully placed a little watch right at the bottom. And the watch inside is made in Switzerland. If you had to go buy this in a retail environment, I'm very confident in saying this would probably be priced around $25,000.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
I brought a pocket watch. It's wood and metal from Van Cleef Arpels. I got it from my great Uncle Barney, and he and my great Aunt Tiny had a dry cleaning store in Beverly Hills, Hollywood back in the 1930s and 40s. And they had several famous people as customers. One of them happened to be Joseph von Sternberg, who was the director for most all of Marlene Dietrich's films. And so he went over to Europe on vacation one year and came back with this pocket watch, which he gave to Uncle Barney. They did such a great job in their dry cleaning establishment that he was very appreciative and wanted to show them that. So
this is really a great piece. The maker, Van Cleef Arpels, was synonymous.
Founded in 1906 at Place Vendôme in Paris, Van Cleef & Arpels quickly became a symbol of elegance, innovation, and an elite clientele. By around 1930, wrist watches were rapidly becoming the norm, yet pocket watches still held strong appeal for discerning collectors who appreciated discretion, craftsmanship, and timeless refinement. Rather than competing head-to-head with traditional watchmakers on technical complications alone, Van Cleef & Arpels approached timepieces as jewelry first. The house partnered with elite Swiss movement makers, housing precise mechanical movements inside beautifully designed jewel-like cases. What truly sets this example apart is its wooden case, an extraordinary rarity when compared to the more commonly seen yellow gold or platinum cases produced by the Maison. This unconventional material choice reflects Van Cleef & Arpels' willingness to push boundaries while maintaining impeccable taste. Typical of the brand's watches, from the 1930s, it is fitted with a manually wound, jeweled Swiss movement. The design clearly reflects Art Deco influence, favoring clean geometry, symmetry, and architectural lines over the flowing curves of the earlier Art Nouveau period. The dial itself is deliberately understated, with minimalist numerals that allow the artistry of the case to take center stage. Today, collectors prize watches like this not just as timekeepers, but as wearable design objects, capturing the glamour of interwar Paris and showcasing Van Cleef & Arpels' early mastery of blending fine jewelry with horological artistry.
It's a manual wind, jeweled Swiss movement. In this configuration, as a man's pocket watch, I've never seen one.
Oh,
They're
okay.
usually a lady's, what we call a purse watch, little mini watches that open and close that were for women. This was made for a man, and to see something like this in wood, well, they didn't survive very well. Retail on this watch would be about $4,000.
Oh, okay, awesome. Awesome, that's very nice.
A friend of mine had it, and we decided to buy it from him. I like clocks. I made a grandfather clock in high school, and I know it was for ships. That's about all I know about it.
Well, this is a pretty important marine chronometer, probably made sometime around 1815. And it was made by Thomas Earnshaw, who was a London maker. He was born in 1749, and he died in 1829.
In the early 19th century, Britain had emerged from the Napoleonic Wars as the world's dominant naval power, and safe, precise navigation was essential for military control, global trade, and empire. While determining latitude was relatively straightforward, calculating longitude required an extraordinarily accurate timepiece, one capable of withstanding temperature changes, humidity, and the constant motion of a ship. Thomas Earnshaw played a pivotal role in meeting this challenge. Building on John Harrison's pioneering work, he helped transform the marine chronometer from a rare experimental device into a reliable, standardized instrument. Earnshaw's most important innovation was the spring detent escapement, which improved accuracy, reduced friction and wear, and allowed chronometers like this one to be produced more efficiently and consistently. One striking feature of this chronometer is its boxed gimbal mounting, which keeps the instrument level regardless of a ship's movement, while its mahogany case with brass fittings protects the delicate movement from shock and moisture. Today, these chronometers are prized not only as horological masterpieces, but also as instruments that reshaped world history, making global travel safer, faster, and more predictable.
And you can see that it is a chain fusee. It gets its power from this spring here, and the original chain is still there. This is actually supported in a very protective case. This fits into this brass cylinder here, and it has a porcelain dial. It's very easy to read. And when we screw on this bezel, it's locked into place. Now, it's set in a gimbal so that if the boat's rocking, it compensates for that. It does have a hairline crack in the dial. It's fitted in a box that helps protect it from the elements. Can you tell me what you bought this clock for?
I paid $125 for it.
How long ago did you purchase this clock?
Within the last year.
This particular clock would probably have an auction estimate of somewhere between $6,500 and $8,500.
Whoa.
It's a pretty good investment.
Pretty good investment, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
My father had bought it for my mother back 1970, in that time frame. My father had been a Shriner and a Mason, and he created a lot of contacts through that. And so he met Larry Beck, who was the trophy king of Baltimore and also a jeweler, and he would buy his jewelry from Larry. And so if there was things that Larry Beck thought my father would be interested in, he would call him and have him come out and take a look, which is how I'm pretty sure this watch came to be. And my mother used to wear it as a pin when she would go out to dance or dinner.
Is there another piece to it then that made it a pin?
There used to be another piece, but it wasn't part of the watch. And two jewelers had offered me $2,000 for that.
Okay.
And I just wasn't ready to sell it at that point. I just felt like there was something more to that watch than what they were saying.
Do you have any idea how much your dad paid for the watch?
I do not know. I mean, I was a kid.
By 1910, Patek Philippe was already internationally recognized for its exquisite craftsmanship, mechanical innovation, and precision movements. Tiffany & Co., the iconic American jeweler, served as Patek Philippe's exclusive U.S. retail partner, offering dual-signed timepieces that conveyed both technical excellence and cosmopolitan taste. This partnership ensured that collectors in the United States had access to some of the finest Swiss-made watches, often featuring bespoke details or enhanced luxury finishes. The case of this Patek Philippe and Tiffany watch is made of platinum, a rare choice for the period, signifying both wealth and technical sophistication, as platinum is difficult to work and polish. Another notable feature is its enameled dial with elegant subsidiary seconds. complemented by the dual signature of Patek Philippe and Tiffany prominently displayed on the movement. The combination of a platinum case and a precise movement makes this watch both technically exceptional and visually striking. Collectors value watches like this not merely as timekeeping instruments, but as works of art, embodying technical innovation, luxury, and international prestige.
Is white enamel, and on the other side you see the high carat, 18 karat yellow gold. On the back is a case number, is a hallmark, which is a French duty mark. Now the movement is also signed Patek Philippe, 18 jewel, and is serial numbered, and also has the marking Tiffany and Company. Tiffany sold other brands of watches, Patek being the Rolls Royce, the finest that they did. They had 5 or 6 different lines that they used. A lot of the Tiffany watches are unsigned on the movement, meaning that you don't know who made it. It was just retailed by Tiffany. But with the franchise agreement that Patek had with Tiffany, it's signed on the movement, which brings it to a whole nother level. In today's market, at a retail level, this watch would be in the $13,000 to $15,000 price range. It's an absolute extraordinary example of a Tiffany Patek.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's the Omega Seamaster model, and when you look at it, well, okay, that's typical of Omega Seamaster. It is 18 karat solid gold. Omega, as you know, is a Swiss watchmaking company. What you don't know, and when I saw it, it threw me back just a couple of seconds, is on the dial down here, we see Roman numerals. There's X, V, I.
The Omega Seamaster emerges from the legacy of Omega, a company founded by Louis Brandt, whose vision continues to shape one of the most respected names in Swiss watchmaking. Introduced in the mid-20th century, the Seamaster reflects Omega's enduring commitment to precision, durability, and refined elegance. By the year 1956, Omega's craftsmanship reached a level of remarkable refinement and technical confidence. Watches from this period were built with robust movements, carefully sealed cases, and meticulous finishing, qualities that underscore Omega's reputation for accuracy and reliability, especially in professional timekeeping, as this watch clearly demonstrates. A defining feature of this watch is the engraving Sistine, which directly links it to the 16th Olympic Games. Omega's role as official Olympic timekeeper gives this marking deep historical meaning, connecting the watch to a global celebration of precision, endurance, and athletic excellence. The case back further elevates the piece through the presence of the Olympic emblem. This symbol confirms its special association with the Games and distinguishes it from standard Seamaster models of the era, offering tangible proof of its purpose and rarity. This Omega Seamaster 16th Olympic watch stands as a lasting tribute to Louis Brandt's legacy and Omega's mastery of timekeeping. Through its refined craftsmanship, Olympic heritage, and historical significance, it remains a powerful example of how horology and world history unite in a single, enduring timepiece.
It's a pretty rare watch.
I had no idea.
I had no
Pretty
idea.
scarce. In today's market, a retail on this is going to bring about $7,000 to $9,000.
Wow. Wow.
That's much more than we ever thought it would be. That's amazing.
It certainly is.
That was a surprise to me. I just didn't bring it.
I brought in a watch. It's made by the Patek Philippe company, and I inherited this watch from my dad. And his whole life he loved clocks and timepieces and watches, and he had many wonderful watches, but this was his pride and joy.
Patek Philippe, founded in the 19th century by Antoine Norbert de Patek alongside Adrien Philippe, represents the highest standard of Swiss watchmaking. From its earliest years, the Maison built its reputation on technical innovation, refined aesthetics, and uncompromising craftsmanship, creating timepieces intended to endure across generations. This watch dates to around the year 1935, a period when Patek Philippe produces wristwatches in notably small numbers. Each example is made by hand with extraordinary care, resulting in limited output and exceptional quality. Because of these restrained production runs, watches from this era remain particularly rare and highly sought after today. One striking feature of this watch is its original dial, distinguished by a delicate pink undertone. This subtle coloration brings warmth and depth to the design, setting it apart from more common dial finishes. The survival of an untouched original dial greatly enhances the watch's authenticity and historical importance. The craftsmanship of this piece is further elevated by the presence of its original Patek Philippe buckle, signed with the PPC hallmark. Buckles are frequently replaced over time, making original examples exceptionally uncommon. Its presence here speaks to the completeness of the watch and adds a significant layer of collectability. Equally important is the original Patek Philippe box preserved alongside the watch. Boxes from this period rarely survive, and its inclusion strengthens provenance while offering a tangible connection to the moment the watch first enters the world. The box stands as an artifact in its own right, enhancing the historical and cultural value of the ensemble. Taken together, the watch, original dial, signed buckle, and original box form a remarkably cohesive set. This Patek Philippe timepiece embodies rarity, elegance, and exceptional preservation, standing as a lasting expression of the Maison's enduring philosophy of craftsmanship, restraint, and timeless design.
They've changed the buckles. This one actually kept the original buckle, which is wonderful.
Yes.
It adds a lot of value. Collectors love things, little increments like that are fabulous. No idea what he paid for it originally?
The number that seems that I remember that he would mention from time to time, and again, this is probably early 40s when he got it. I want to say $400.
Your father probably was young. He had to have been in his 20s or 30s when he did this?
Mid-20s, right.
Yeah, which was
right.
a lot of money for someone in those days.
Yes.
Probably on a retail level, in a really nice, fine store, probably around $6,500, $6,000 to $7,000, somewhere in that price point. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, very collectible,
Thank
rare
you.
watch.
Wow.
Yep.
I brought today a pendant watch that my father gave my mother after they were divorced. It's kind of an apology item because they had a rough several years, like probably 40 plus years, where they couldn't find any area to communicate on. And they started communicating later in life, probably in their late 60s, early 70s, and they started calling each other and visiting, and they'd go out to coffee, things like that. They went on trips together. And my mom turned to me during that time and she said, "Your dad's my best friend." Well, he gave it to her kind of as a way to say he was sorry for things that had happened over the years. When I look at this, I think it's all about forgiveness. And my mom gave it to me because she knew I loved it. When my dad passed away, I think that at that point my mom got it insured. And she did have somebody look at it. And I want to say that it was worth $600 is what they said. But personally, I doubt that at this point. I don't think it's worth that much.
Ladies' pendant watches emerge as elegant solutions at a time when wristwatches are still gaining acceptance among women. Created to function as both jewelry and timekeepers, these pieces allow time to be carried discreetly while enhancing personal style. They reflect an era when practicality and adornment are seamlessly united in a single, graceful object. This refined example is created by Blancpain, a historic Swiss watchmaker founded by Jean-Jacques Blancpain. By the year 1925, Blancpain produced pendant watches that align perfectly with the Art Deco movement, a period defined by geometry, balance, and luxurious materials. This watch reflects that aesthetic clearly, blending precise watchmaking with modern design sensibilities. Craftsmanship is immediately revealed through its 18-inch platinum chain, fully set with diamonds. Each stone is placed with care and precision, demonstrating mastery in both metalwork and gem setting. Rather than serving only as a support, the chain becomes an essential part of the design, contributing brilliance and rhythm to the overall composition. The watch case itself is crafted in platinum and enhanced with diamond settings, creating visual continuity between chain and timepiece. Small sapphire crowns positioned on both sides add a subtle yet striking detail, introducing color and refinement while showcasing the creative confidence of jewelers working during this period. Inside, the watch houses a high-grade movement, underscoring Blancpain's commitment to precision and reliability. The reverse is finished with enamel work, an elegant decorative touch that reinforces its Art Deco character and reflects the philosophy that beauty extends even to unseen elements. This Blancpain pendant watch stands as a graceful fusion of jewelry and horology. Through its Art Deco design, precious materials, and exceptional craftsmanship, it captures the spirit of its time and remains a lasting expression of elegance, innovation, and refined taste.
Blancpain is a Swiss watchmaking company, founded in 1735. Blancpain is the oldest watchmaker in recorded history. This dates from 1920 to 1925. It really is true Art Deco. I'm going to flip it over, and on the other side, incredible, screams Art Deco. This is all enameling. That's all done by hand. You have a wonderful figure in there surrounded by platinum work and little diamonds. Retail on this, it would bring about $5,000 to $6,000.
Holy smokes. It was my boyfriend's when I was in high school. He got arrested and had to go to jail. So he brought a couple things to my house for me to keep for him. The watch, a hunting rifle, and a jacket. Okay. So after he got out of jail, he came back to my house, well, my parents' house, to get his stuff, and I wasn't home. So my mom let him into my bedroom to get his stuff, but he forgot about the watch. So this last winter, when I was cleaning out some stuff, I found it in the back of my actual sock drawer. Yes, I know. 50 years. It's been there at least 50 years, over 50 years.
The Rolex Explorer is born from the vision of Hans Wilsdorf, the founder of Rolex, who believes that a wristwatch should be more than elegant. It must be absolutely reliable under the most extreme conditions. From the earliest days of the brand, Wilsdorf connected Rolex to endurance, precision, and exploration, supplying timepieces to mountaineers, adventurers, and professionals who depend on clarity and accuracy where failure is not an option. This particular watch is the Rolex Explorer reference 1016, produced around the year 1964. The reference 1016 is created as a pure tool watch, designed for legibility, durability, and simplicity. With no unnecessary complications, it serves a single purpose: to tell time clearly and reliably in demanding environments, staying true to the Explorer's original mission. The dial on this watch is no longer its original factory black. Over time, it has aged into a warm light brown, gradually transitioning toward darker tones at the edges. This natural transformation is known among collectors as a tropical dial, a result of long-term exposure and material changes rather than artificial alteration. Also, the bracelet fitted to the watch is also not the original example. However, it closely resembles the bracelet originally supplied with the model, known as the Jubilee Link bracelet. While not factory matched to the watch, it remains period appropriate in style and feel, preserving the overall aesthetic and wearability associated with the Explorer during this era. In the end, this Rolex Explorer reference 1016 stands as a powerful expression of purposeful design. With its tropical dial, honest evolution, and enduring form, it tells a story of exploration, time, and resilience. It remains a watch that lives exactly as Hans Wilsdorf intends, defined not by excess, but by function, character, and timeless reliability.
The radium that's in the hands, the radium that's in the number, to give it the glow in the dark effect, sometimes it gives off that radiation, it burns it. Perhaps somebody wore this a lot and it was in the sun. 20 years ago in watch collecting, a dial like that was considered, that's no good. So if this went in to service to your watchmaker, to the jewelry store, they might take that dial off and toss it out and get you a replacement dial from the factory. Now that's coveted. That's a prize. That's desired by collectors who want that look. This is the most extreme of tropical dials I think I've ever seen.
Whoa.
It's in working condition. This watch right now, retail, it'll bring $10,000.
What, seriously? All right. A redeeming factor for him.